I have my drill bit kit. Let's go ahead and drill 2 holes, 1 on each side of that bracket. And we can mount basically our rear suspension. Alright, so we're having clearance issues with the shock hitting this cover. So it fits fine on there, but we're gonna have to reshape this. So I had to do this on the E200 as well. So we're gonna go ahead and draw a new line. There we go. And that'll provide more clearance. So in order to use this hole right here, we have to enlarge it a little because we need to attach this drum brake so it doesn't rotate. So here's the drum brake right here. And right now it rotates freely. So we need a screw, either make a bracket or a screw to go through right there. So what I'm going to do is, there's already a hole right here. I'm going to enlarge this hole so it fits. We only need it a little larger. So I have standard size drill bits. This one is 7/64. So this is aluminum, so it drills pretty easily. All right, perfect. There we go. So this will keep the drum from rotating. We got some longer screws. So we went ahead, got M8 1.25 and it's 60 millimeter length. And then M8 1.25 nylock. These are nylon locking bolts, nuts. So that's to keep it from backing out on its own. It has nylon in it. So it's like a little lock nut on it. So we need a little spacer right there. Alright, so I only have one of these spacers. I need another. Alright, so I have a whole bunch of these other spacers, bushings, and I need it shorter. So we're gonna go ahead and cut this down to the same length. So I'm just gonna go ahead and throw it on my band saw, and then we're gonna cut another one. It'll be for this other side. So I want it a little longer. So I'm gonna cut this in half. There we go. we have our makeshift bolt kickstand. Let's go ahead and reinstall it. All right, works. Today we gotta cut this, so it'll fit on. We want it through this hole right here. And we're gonna feed it front side right here where all the wires go through. We want to go in through here as well. So it's just passing through the box. All right, let's see if that fits. So when you're doing custom work like this, it's all test fitting, trial and error, test fitting. So reattach this. All right, that works. We'll mount it right here. So we'll have to slide this handle off. Three millimeter. So this just twists off. It's just a rubber grip, similar to a bicycle grip. It's just rubber. A little sleeve that goes with this throttle. Right, we don't need this anymore. It goes into my spare parts bucket. All right. So this is gonna go right here. I don't know why this is, there we go. All right. 5 millimeter. we want it pretty tight so it doesn't shift on us. All right. Yeah, that's pretty good. This one's a little loose, so I'm going to tighten this side. Same 5mm. So here's the throttle we're using. This also has a battery gauge as well, so it tells you how much battery is left. There's a film on here I haven't removed. But we'll remove it after we finish the installation, so it keeps it nice. And there's a little Allen wrench. This one looks small. 2.5mm. Yeah, so this one's 2.5mm. There we go. Looks so much better than the other one. And this has full range throttle, so you can go slow if you want. It's not all or nothing like that other throttle. So this teaches the kids better throttle control. Let's wire everything through to the compartment right here. Brake wire. So we have 2 brake wires going in. We can use one or we can use both and wire them together. So the controller is going to go in here. This controller is pretty big. It fills up most of that compartment. So I'm thinking we're going to have to mount our battery externally. So I have battery adapters for DeWalt batteries, and I think I'll mount it like this right here. So this is the battery input. I'm going to think about that one for a bit, but let's go ahead and do the rest. So throttle. Brake light input. So this is brake light output. Here's the hub motor. So there's 3 wires right here for the hub motor. And then you have the Hall sensor. So this is just color coded. Green with green. Blue with blue, yellow with yellow. Electric lock. So this is our ignition switch. So it was this wire next to the throttle. This came from this throttle with the key up here. We don't need the charging port. Let's see, battery, charging port, we don't need. We don't need those. That's it. We just need a battery. We're gonna wrap all these wires together. So this little grommet can fit right there and protect all the wires. All right. All right, so we have the battery connector right here. So here's battery. I think I'm gonna mount it up here. I've done it in the past with a lot of other Razor scooters, and it's a good spot where it's easy to access and it's not in the way of anything. Sometimes I mount it in the back, near the rear of the scooter, but it's much simpler to do it up here, like that. The self-tapping, self-drilling screws I'm using. Size number 6 by 1/2 inch. I just picked this up at a local hardware store. I'm using a box of terminal connectors. And we're going to extend this out permanently. This will be okay. Should have used. First I do that. And then basically just make sure it gets a good connection. Same thing again. We're going to wrap it up with electrical tape. All right, so yellow is our positive right here. You can tell by red is positive, black down here, where it goes into the controller is negative. So you want to follow that. So this yellow will be positive. I put it right here. We're gonna push this wire through. So we're gonna connect the positive first. This is the positive. Let's connect it so we don't get confused. I want to run this fuse through here. So we're running a 30 amp fuse right there. And connect this end to this end. All right, so now it's protected. Let's disconnect this negative, and we're just gonna use one of these adapters. We don't need to use two, since we're not using that switch. Negative will be in the blue. So now this is our negative from our battery pack, and we have it wired in series. So I'll add a diagram on how to wire up batteries in series. It creates more voltage. So we're using two 20-volt batteries. It's going to give us 40-volt output. All right, so this negative will go directly into here. There we go. And usually I like to wrap up all of my wires in electrical tape just so it's neater than this. But I'm planning to use this controller on something else later, so I don't want to wrap up all the wires. Let's go ahead and mount a screw that holds this to the plastic housing so it doesn't slide all over the place. We're just adding the screw to the factory mount where the old controller went. All right, mounted, and then the brake cable, I just put it over the controller a little. All right, we'll zip tie all these together. On here, so this is just extra support if needed. Put the cover back on. Tighten up these screws, 13 millimeter. All right, 8 millimeter to hold the nut at the bottom. And then we'll go ahead and tighten the fillet screw. So these are nylock. They're like lock washers built into the nut. So it shouldn't back out on its own. go for a test ride. All right, we tested out the 40 volts on this 48 volt motor with 48 volt controller, and 40 volts is definitely not enough. It only goes like approximately 9.8 miles per hour, which is about the same speed or a little less than the original 24 volt system. So I don't have a 48 volt battery, but what I'm going to run is 60 volts on this, and we should get at least 15 miles an hour. But let's go ahead and overvolt it to 60 volts. I'll show you guys how I do it. Okay, so we're going to hook up another battery pack, and we're going to wire it up in series as well. And we'll add this battery pack to the back right here. So it makes it easy because we have this hole that throttle, the brake cable line is going through. There we go. And this will mount right on that side. I just have to figure out which one is positive. So this one's positive. So what we do is we disconnect this positive. So this negative needs to go into this positive right here. Like that. Lock it in place. And this positive going into the controller right here needs to be with this positive. All right. So we just added an extra battery pack. So what we want to do is test this. We want to make sure we have 60 volts. So we should have 60 volts right now. So if you can see my voltmeters are here. Negative and positive. So it's at 63 volts right now. All right, that should be good. Let's go ahead and unplug this. And we have a 30 amp fuse in here, so if anything does go wrong, this fuse will blow. All right, unplug our batteries. All right, turn this off. All right, go ahead and plug our battery in to the controller. So we'll put this, hanging this off the end, and we have to teach the controller which direction to go. So you get these two blue wires right here. There's a connector, it fits onto each other, so you plug it in. Here, let's put our batteries in. Okay, and we turn on the controller. The key right here. Turn it on. Okay, so battery is full. And don't pull the throttle yet. What you have to do is plug this in. So this is rotating backwards right now. Go ahead and undo it. And then plug it back in. There. So now it's going the correct way. It's rotating this way. Now you unplug it and leave it unplugged. Turn this controller off. Okay, now turn it back on. And now you can twist your throttle. Now it's working. But if you don't program it, then your scooter won't go anywhere once you plug everything in. So you have to do that sequence where you teach it which way to rotate. And here's full speed. All right, everything's working. Let's go ahead and take our batteries out. We're gonna mount the battery pack.